Hey everybody, welcome to another week of Pensado's Plays. He's Dave, I'm Herb, and in a minute, we're going to go down and look at the craft of songwriting with our guest Eric Bellinger. But first, next week, sign up for the Pensado Fall Free-for-All. This is the mother of all sweepstakes. We've got some really cool partners we put together. It's brought to you by Warm Audio and Groove 3, and everyone who enters this contest will win something. Along with that, we have 3 winners per week, a grand prize winner in the 4th week. We've got prizes coming from all of the good folks at Warm Audio and Groove 3, which I already mentioned, Isotope, Eventide, Sonar Works, Leap Wing, Pensado's Place. I'm telling you, we're just going to give a bunch of stuff away. Everybody wins. All the details next week. Tune in, don't miss. That's when we kick it off. The Pensado Fall Free-for-All coming up. And as usual, if you would sign up for our newsletter at pensadosplace.tv, be sure to click like, subscribe, and notify right there. That's a good thing. And then we got a couple things for our boy, Dave. First of all, his book, Recording Vocals with Dave Pensado, is available at Amazon, so you should see that. Dave's pretty proud of that. And he doesn't know this, but today is the 200th ITL over the course of our life. How many views do you think? First of all, you didn't know it was the 200th.
No, I didn't.
I know. How many views do you think has happened over the course, the aggregate number of views?
200 times
10.
10. I'd say 2.2 million.
2.2 million. It's a pretty good guess. Well, the reality of it is 7 million views, 200 ITL.
Who are these people?
There's one guy that's viewed them 6,999,000 times.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
my uncle.
That's right. Larry Pensado.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So congratulations, man. It's a unique part of the show.
It's not me. It's all of us. It's you, me, Chungor, and back in the day, Will,
and you.
I mean, yeah, but I didn't do one without you guys, so it's a team effort, really.
Well, listen, congratulations to the team, congratulations to you.
Thank
you. Given all these accolades for this ITL milestone, what is this week's ITL?
Well, this one's kind of cool. I was messing with some toms, which are the lowly toms, and usually get the least of my attention, but found a way to make them sound great. Check it out. I'm going to show you a little bit about toms today. They come in and out of fashion, and part of the reason I think is because it takes a little bit of extra programming, and what do you really get for your money? Toms are good to get you from one section to another section. The old classic chorus as an example of that. Now we have, rises and all kinds of stuff that's cool, but we've forgotten about the poor little tom. And I'm going to show you today a way to update your tom sound, and you can use this on kick drums, you can use it on snares. It works good on whole wheat bread. Let me play it for you. Not a bad tom sound, but once again, this is just giving me a little bit of a panning, sorting some stuff out. Now, the real contributor in this situation, our old pal Sausage Fattener on the toms. We don't usually think of Sausage Fattener as doing that to drums, but try it on snares. Of course, everybody uses it on kicks, but try it on snares and toms, and that's what you get. And this is one of my new favorite plugins also. This is 80s Reverb. It's on sale from time to time. Keep an eye out for it because it's really good. Check this out. So there you go. Those are some ideas that you can use on a multitude of things, from room mics to overheads, toms, kicks, snares. Works good on everything. All right, next time.
This just in, IK Multimedia has a brand new deal in their T-Rack system. You can buy one, get 6 free. Go to their website you see right there and take full advantage. Grammys, collaborations, goats, yoga, meditation. How does all this tie into songwriting? We're going to find out by welcoming our guest, Eric Bellinger. How are you, man?
Great.
What's up, buddy?
I'm great.
Good to see you.
So part of what I have found fascinating recently, and I want to see what you think, is there's this constant push and pull between technology and music.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of decide where you live in it, right? Mm-hmm. And specifically to songwriting, there's a couple trends that I see, which is collaboration amongst groups of songwriters. And I'm not talking about collaboration where 2 people get together or 3 people write a song, but people actually have camps.
Yeah.
And I see songwriter camps that are overseas and people hosting them and tech companies hosting them. You're part of the writers camp and so on and so forth. There is something about the collective space of that provides you what? Is it safety? Is it ideas? Is it inspiration? Mm-hmm. What happens when you're with a group of people you know?
I think you're able to just tap into different realms, different knowledge. Mm-hmm. You know, the same terminology as 2 is better than 1 expands when you add more talent, you know, more stylization, you know, more... the more uniqueness, you know, in each songwriter, as long as someone can bring something to the table, especially that's different. You know, it's one thing to get in the room with the same type of group of guys that you are.
Right.
And what the writing camp is, something that's all types of different, you know, like you said, London, I've done writing camps with, you know, everyone. And I feel like the more different the writer, you know, the stronger, you know, the collaborative effort could become.
Yeah, I think that's. I think that is the goal for sure, and I also think is competition part of that as well too.
Gotta be.
Well, I remember.
Maybe it's not internal, but maybe.
I remember doing one camp specific where I remember Mark Pitts. We were working at the Circle House in Miami.
Yep.
And group of writers, you know, and we're all getting the same batch of beats. And at the end, he says, pick the beat you want, and you all are going to go into a separate room. That day was
fire.
Like, you know, it was
playoffs,
like guns blazing.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, most times you in there together, you know, working like, okay, who's gonna go in on melodies first, or who has a concept? And, you know, it's a lot more strategic, and I think it takes a lot more patience and, you know, talent to co-write. You know what I mean? You could be a thorn, not even knowing it. You know, you could be thinking you're the spearhead when maybe your strong point would be the closer, you know? So, you know, if you know who you are, you know, and you stay in your lane, I feel like, you know, of course, no egos. That's always, you never want to be in there with some egos, you know?
Right.
So if you can get some like-minded, positive thinking people together that are talented and just want the greater purpose to be for the song and not maybe the line that they had that they didn't get to go in the booth to, you know, present to the team. It's not even about that.
There's a very successful, extremely successful camp in town that I won't name, but there seems to be this trend, tell me if you support it and if you've been a part of it, where much like football, there's a guy that only punts the ball, there's a guy that only throws the ball, there's a guy that only does punt returns.
Yeah.
And this particular camp has writers that just do pre-choruses. They have writers that just do choruses, writers that just do intros.
Yeah.
Is that a trend that you see catching fire more, or is it?
Yeah, especially
do you
lately when it comes to shopping songs. You know, when I was doing songs and focusing on writing songs for other artists, I would write the entire song from verse to pre to hook, second verse, post to bridge, hook, outro, ad-libs, potential. I'm talking about just the whole song, a demo song. You know, and that's just the way I learned. So I think that's strengthened me as an artist now to know the proper way to do it. You know, but with the speed of evolution in the climate of today's generation, the A&Rs, the artists, when it comes to shopping the songs, they're like, okay, we don't need to hear all, the whole song. Just kind of send us something that, like, send some hooks. Can you send some hooks? I think that's where it started, because they're like, yo, if you got a good hook, you can fill in the rest, And I, ran into a lot of different people going with that method, but I don't think that's the strongest route because, you just may have a strong hook. The same thing, the same attitude that they put in is the same attitude that they got out of it.
If you were part of that system, what would your specialty be?
Oh, man. Front to back, man. Barry Gordy, artist development.
Top line?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Top line.
Music as well?
For me?
Yeah.
I love songwriting. I love melody. And then I love
the rest.
Post-production.
Got it.
I love being a part of post-production.
Well, and that's what I was alluding to in the technology thing, because, and this is instructive for the audience, I think in the current climate of placing songs with artists or record companies or could be sync stuff for movies too, people are looking at it in a much more compartmentalized way. It could be this piece, could be that beat, could be that beat. People are putting it together. They're making pizza. Somebody's doing the crust, somebody's doing the cheese and tomatoes, and then you decide, what I'm going to put on top of it. And so in developing your craft, I think, I'm curious to see what you would say, don't sell yourself short by trying to get good at just one piece of it.
Right.
Maybe get good.
Right.
And then the marketplace will figure out what your thing is. But get good completely. Do you agree?
Oh, I definitely say start with knowing it all. Never take the short route. Never. I definitely don't recommend that. I was just, just speaking on the fact that I see it. And it's definitely driving, the culture. But yeah, you gotta know how to do everything. You have to know how to. If you're a songwriter that doesn't know how to engineer, you're already behind all of the songwriters that know how to engineer. So if you need to get to a session and then you're there and the engineer isn't there, you can't start.
Right.
Meanwhile, I say, yo, just pull up the mic right here real quick, boom, 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 and now I have, whatever advantage that gives me.
Yeah, people are hybrids today.
Yeah,
everybody's
for sure.
a bit of a songwriter and a bit of an engineer and a bit of a producer and a bit of. What is your technical process when you write? What do you write on?
I like to have the beat there. You might get your cases where maybe I'm in Starbucks and I hear, what is that? And I'll come up with a melody, and then I'll maybe voice note, what was this ghost beat, but it gave me inspiration and I created an entire different, sonic. So, with giving the entire beat first, it allows me to paint the entire picture.
Gotcha.
For me.
So you have the foundation, you can go from there.
Yeah,
And are you just on your phone in Starbucks?
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. Voice notes galore, when I'm on the road, when I'm even in studios with other artists or whatever, and I hear something in conversation, in the Uber or whatever it may be, I definitely pull and draw inspiration from everywhere. And then I like to tell the whole story because it's not really Eric Bellinger. It's not really me. If I can't tell you my whole story, then now you hear, a bunch of different things. But even if I'm around, if I'm in a co-writing session and someone says something, if I don't like it and I don't say, hey, I don't like that, I think we can come up with a stronger line. That contribution could detour the entire melody, verse, something, so it's always important to identify when maybe it could steer wrong too. Even, input is just as important as constructive criticism.
Do you subscribe to the theory that great songs are just out there and they kind of somewhat float by and you just grab them, like Michael Jackson said one time and Prince said it? Do you subscribe to that theory?
For music, it has to be something that the consumer is drawn to on their own. I feel like anytime something is like when you're in Foot Locker and they're like, yo, can I help you? What can I get for you? You see these new J's right here? I might have went in there for A6. I might have went in there for something totally different, you know, and I think that automatically gives a sour, you know, ear to the listener when they're like, you know, kind of something's forced down their throat. You know, they may listen to it and know it, but they may not love it. You know, they might turn the radio when the song comes on the next time. But the one that they found when they were in a hotel room, when they were listening to a playlist, and it made them stop and say, I've never heard this artist, who is this? Let me download, let me do some research on my own. I think the natural, organic streams will really come from
How do you write
every
one? How do you write one of those?
listen songs, not I heard it and I'm cool.
How do you write one of those, Eric? I mean,
you have to write from the heart. You have to write with substance. You have to write for purpose and not for numbers. You know, you have to make sure that what you're doing it's passion. You know, and I think that comes across, you know, when the lyric is just as strong as the pain in the voice of the artist performing.
Interesting point you make. I speak pretty regularly to a group of college kids that come out here from Ohio University, and for some reason they always ask me back to speak. And it's interesting to take their pulse, because what they'll tell you if you ask them, and what I notice is that we have such cluttered incoming at us constantly now.
Daily, yeah.
Constantly. Just, we act like it's normal, but you're starting to see the effects of it being abnormal. You know, Facebook and YouTube now have dashboards where you pull it up and they now will remind you of your usage on the phone, because people are addicted. Nobody wants to say it out loud, but people are addicted.
Crazy.
If a phone rang in here right now, 99% of the people in here will run and see what the text is, right? And I don't think people understand. So I would do a test when I have those conversations. The point being that once people are able to step back and look at it, they're like, oh man, like I don't realize. So the challenge of a creator is how to get through that. And it has to be something that touches you.
It does.
It can't be something that's just mental. There's times where something can move you or catch an emotion.
Of course. The challenge is fun.
But so the stuff that cuts through clutter, which is fascinating to me, is particularly relevant times now. I was talking to a label chief, and he was saying that usually in times of political turmoil, when there's political tension, musical artists have led the way. And they've either talked about what's going on, talked about the feelings, and so forth. Do you find the times can be an inspiration for what you write? You know, I think about Logic's song about suicide touched everybody and cut through, because there's lots of stuff to be talking about today.
I do. I feel like if it's too dark, it will definitely be a, like you said, a timestamp, maybe, you know? Cause like songs around Christmas, you want to listen to those every holiday. So you do have an emotion that I want to listen to something like this, you know, but if it's too tragic of an event, you might not want to, go back and listen to that song unless it's, uplifting. So I wouldn't, want to dive in too deep to the current affairs, but, it's always great for the trend in the moment to capitalize.
And it's the way you approach the event. Sometimes you take a tough event and do something uplifting and show people. I think generally people want optimism.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I think, even with Childish Gambino, for example, with the This Is America video, it's degrading, it's acceptance, it's overcoming, it's being stronger for and not being afraid, it's being proud, it's walking with your head tall in the midst of the struggle. So that, for example, I think was a great example of a way to accept it, take it, throw it away, we're bigger.
Now, which, you have several hats. We've talked about songwriting and engineering, you're a producer and an artist. You recently did speaking of purposeful stuff, you recently released a 5-song EP on meditation. What was the inspiration for that? Where'd that come from?
The peace that meditation brought me, the peace that yoga brought me in my like you said, it's just everything is on the go, on the go, every single day, grind, looking for the big opportunity, making sure you're staying ready so you don't have to get ready. Even when it's not your time to be called, you're still working just as hard as you would be working if the spotlight was on you. If you keep that type of mentality with every single facet of your life, all the people that are the real students of the game, the people that really do their homework and they're really listening on YouTube and watching the different educational tools to better advance themselves, you know, if you don't have any of that, if you don't know any of that is out there, you'll just kind of live in this rat hole of the music industry. I'm trying to get on, you know,
Which
and I think
drive you nuts.
It's crazy. Like, what do I gotta do? Should I stop working? Should I focus on this? Should I get a job? But I don't want them to see me working. But I need money to be able to pay for my bills. But I want to focus in this music thing. I want to give it my all. That whole grind that I feel like 99.9% of, you know, especially aspiring singers, songwriters, artists go through is frustrating, you know, and it could be damaging to the mind and to the mental health. So I wanted to make a project that, you know, I felt would be able to penetrate to listeners that probably aren't necessarily thinking about meditating, but it's such a great outlet to just stop. Put your phone away.
Oh my God.
Put your phone, like that's the first thing. That's rule number one. Put your phone away. Get all the text messages out. Put it away. That first thing I say when you press play is close your eyes. You know, I wanted to actually do guided meditation with it. So it's not just music. You know, I wanted to connect all the songs together so it's not a feeling of that this is over in 327.
Right.
You know, you need to listen to the full thing to get the full experience. And if you really, truly tap in and stop what you're doing and listen, you know, it can heal slowly but surely, you know?
Can I show them how powerful it is?
Definitely.
Your meditation ability is so powerful, literally so powerful, that you actually float when you meditate.
About that.
I mean, man, it's amazing. Now, if you can get to that kind of zen, everybody, then you
Top
should.
of Los Angeles.
There you go, elevated.
And,
so, you know, here's what we don't have to worry about with you, is commitment. So not only you got a meditation piece you're going out with yoga and so forth and how that's good for you. You're going to turn that into a tour in yoga studios. Now you got goats involved too. So tell us about goats, their involvement, and where does it take you to?
They get a little anxious too, you know?
They do. You know, we had them on Rodeo Drive bucking horns and, you know, they don't mean any harm.
The Beverly Hills cops must have loved you. They must have loved you.
Of course. You know, because at first I was like, are they going to trip? I'm like, let's just go. And I think with all the tourists there taking the pictures, they was just like, man, just let them have fun. But yeah, commitment is the name of the game. Man.
So the goats are going to be in the yoga studios because I have seen footage of
goat yoga.
Goat yoga.
Yeah.
What is goat yoga?
So goat yoga is same yoga practices, but with the goats, what they do, their balance is impeccable. You know, so a lot of times with the yoga poses, yoga isn't always easy.
Right.
You know, you might need, you know, a little help, you know, pushing maybe just to help you stretch because your body, we're not naturally stretchy, you know, just flexible like that.
Right.
So the weight from the goat will actually apply a stronger stretch at certain positions.
I mean, the weight from them standing on you?
Yeah. Hubs, baby.
Do you ever get to stand on them?
Negative.
Oh.
In some countries, they have Python yoga.
Don't sign me up for that.
And it's amazing what you get when a python strangles you. But you're taking it farther. You and your team are actually going out on tour.
Yeah.
Utilizing the meditative music stuff and yoga, correct?
And yoga, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we're going to do a tour, man. We're going to start off in the U.S. and do yoga. Like literally, you know, we're going to play the songs. I'm curating an entire, you know, hour playlist of songs that I like, that I feel are zen, you know, that are relaxing and purposeful. Lyrics that are actually motivating and that can, you know, really do something for the mind the same way that back in the 90s, media would criticize urban hip hop for influencing a culture to do drugs, to kill, to do the gangs, taking the same mentality of music being the universal language and adding meditation.
And 18,000 people doing the downward dog. Someplace would be some great video
All
for
I'm
that.
saying is
That's a Barbara Walters question, man.
mental health, baby.
Listen, it's a big issue in today.
It really is, though.
People
It
don't understand.
really is,
It's a big
more
issue.
than ever. You know, and the things that I went through as a kid, you know, maybe the things you went through as a kid,
No
and
question.
the things that this millennial generation they go through, it's like they're so exposed to so many things that we had no clue of. You know, we were out, you know, playing video games or outside, you know, doing sports, whatever
Yep.
it may be, and we didn't know what was going on Instagram.
And oh man,
And, you know, they see everything that we see, and us as adults are shocked.
It's fascinating the point that you're making. In that, as I refer back to the class I was talking about, so there are 22 to 24-year-olds. And the coordinator of the program said the reason we want you to always kick off when they come out every 3 months is because you just give it to them straight.
Yeah.
And so I'll sort of jab at them about what I call the head down society, but what's going to make you successful is being engaged in your head. Context. I actually use the NFL kneeling thing as context because most of these folks are from Ohio, and I utilize both sides. And when you utilize both sides, you can see where everybody has a point, and they're not even that far apart, but because they don't have any context, it doesn't move forward. The point I'm making to your point is that this mental health issue is not just millennials. It's seniors. There's a whole lot of people dealing with undue stress, which is oftentimes where artistry can pull you through and give you something to hold on to, or an idea like this and how that's good for you physically. And it's going to be called Yoga After Dark. Is that what the tour is going to be called?
Yoga
I think it's
After Dark.
fascinating that you're pushing the envelope.
What types of
with
venues are you going
Actual yoga
that. Studios.
studios.
Like
Just in the city, just.
like my kind of studio or a yoga studio?
No, I'm sorry.
You can drop by my place. I can use it.
Do it in the booth. I got a big booth. It's like aerobics class, you could say. You know, where it's like just an open space, and you could say something like this, like a dance, except there's, you know, mirrors. A lot of these type of outfits, you know, it's comfortable. You're sweating though, you know. It's not like
I think it's great.
you're not like, hey, what's up, baby?
Right.
You know,
Well, you can, but it's a different thing.
To each his own.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a personal thing.
Yeah. But you definitely, you know, the purpose and the goal is to walk out an hour later and say, wow, I really feel different, you know? And I feel like when you can touch people in ways other than just the music and actually be a part of the, you know, evolution of their life mentally.
In your journey, you've had, you know, Chris Brown, Selena Gomez, Usher, different folks along the way. What did getting to that point teach you? What did you take from it that then carries you forward? Because sometimes those experiences can be good and bad. It's both, right?
Yeah. For me, I think now that I'm on the forefront and I'm like, okay, it's my turn to put my own albums out, to put my own tours together, I can reach back into the memory banks from each session, remembering the do's and don'ts, remembering the things that I loved and appreciated, and also never forgetting the times when it was rude, that they were so late and I was there to do a job and I was on time and I was hungry and I maybe left my family and they're late and it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, depending on who it was, you know, there's some negative sessions that I've had and there's some positive ones. So I feel like they've all shaped me into decision picking for album. You know, that's an entire process than recording. We might have all these songs that are crazy, but then, you know, maybe the label likes these over here. And I'm seeing like, wow, that whole thing just went left. You know, like, all right, you know, but you know, I feel like the experience from being behind the scenes for a while and learning the ropes and being quiet and taking the back door, the intern approach, is definitely great for molding moguls.
When you write a song, that's when the fun begins. How do you get your songs to a Pharrell or to a Chris Brown? I'm not talking so much you, but our audience. I'm sure there's a million people out there that write, but that they just pile up before anybody hears them. What's the process in terms of getting that?
I feel like nowadays, being a go-getter, it's a different vibe than it was. You know, for me, I was like sending songs. You know, I was maybe getting invited more so because I'm in a Sony, you know, and they were pitching me to the labels for the writing camps, like I said.
Right.
But now I feel like it's a hustler's day, and Instagram, DMs, you can find out who's who if you do your homework fast. You know, like, okay, cool, this such and such is manager, such and such is A&R, this is, you know, the assistant to the whatever it may be. You just got to get your music heard, you know, and I feel like you can't hide an incredible song.
Do you send the song cold to them, or do you send a note saying, I've got some material I'd like to hook up with you? How do you do it?
It's the same type of etiquette on Instagram that it is in the studio. You know, when people teach and are knowledgeable of studio etiquette and they know when to say what and when to keep their mouth shut, you know, those are the same practices that you have to have when it comes to approaching a complete stranger. You know, it's your song has to lead the way. Your talk can't. You know, if you talking too much, if you saying, just get let me hear the swag, let me hear the song, let me hear what you got, you feel me? And, you know, I feel like that will build a relationship because no matter how close you get with someone, if the song isn't right.
Not gonna matter.
You know, most people I know, and I'm not a songwriter, but these are questions I get, so I'm going to refer them to this show in the future whenever they ask me these questions. But how do you prevent someone from getting a song and then kind of plagiarizing it or stealing it?
You have to make sure maybe your business is handled on your end as far as
like copyrights and stuff?
Copyrights, poor man's copyright, whatever you want to do. You know, there's registration, things you can do with ASCAP, with BMI. And
what's a poor man's copyright? Where you just
send
it to yourself.
Send it to yourself. It's got the post stamp on there. So if anything ever happens, you got a song that you knew you were taking a chance with, maybe sending it to somebody and them stealing your song, you know, but you have to just do it with good faith and make sure you're making right decisions. You can't be out here, you know, and if you also send it, you have your emails, you know, whatever it may be, if you have a strong enough case, you know, I feel like you can say something. But it's up to the vibe, you know. Don't just be sending anything carelessly.
Did I hear you correctly? You don't do beats, right? Is that what you're saying?
Nah, I don't like to start.
So where do you get your beats from?
Oh man, I got producers that are signed to YFS, which is your favorite song.
That's your label?
Yep. Label,
congrats.
management, production company. So, you know, Southwest is like who I do a lot, you know, of my work with, especially starting off Cuffin' Season and all the albums that I really feel like made me is because I was able to get with a team, you know, of guys. And, you know, I feel my ear for what I want to be creatively and what I hear allows me to drive and spearhead from the production side of things. Guys like I love working with new talent. That's why I'm saying, like, you know, I'm a specialist at how do you approach or how do you do it, because people hit me all the time. And sometimes someone has hit me that I don't even know, and I just jumped on the song because I loved it so much. You know what I mean? So it's an organic relationship that can be built, but you just have to go about it the right way, and that's with everything, you know, decision-making and timing and wording, you know.
Talk about the process of selling and or buying beats.
Man,
it's just,
that's the craziest part for me, you know, because there's so many different ways now to put out a song. You can lease beats now. You know,
you can lease them.
You can lease them. You know, it's a whole different day and age. You know, you can buy the beat. For me, a lot of times I'm putting out cash straight to the producer. Like, you know, if it's something that we're gonna really do something with, go with. Because I definitely feel like there's a difference between like going for a single and going for promo.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and if you can have an agreement, or if, you know, both parties look at it as like, okay, I can get my publishing on this, I can get my opportunities, I can build my resume. You know, it's a lot of different ways you can look at it, but you know, it's all about having, you know, access to beats. You know, so for producers, when I'm like, yo, anybody got beat? You know, that those are real. You know, I really feel like you can come up by just
Is there paperwork that
saying
goes with
what's
it
up.
once you buy something? Is there an agreement of some
Yeah,
sort?
for sure. There's a producer
standard?
deck, there's a down, you know, there's a lawyer involvement, you know, there's proper splits that I do when you're doing business right.
Right, exactly.
You know, I do feel like, you know, with the mixtape era or the SoundCloud era, a lot of that gets lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
You know, but each individual party always can be responsible for their own split,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Right.
If you have a song and you did business with somebody and they're not handling it properly on their end, you can get your split sheet, you can, you know, handle whatever it is, the percentage that you got, you can submit it to Sound Exchange, you can submit it to different companies that will collect your royalties for you.
And when you lease a beat, then you can use it, but you don't have ownership of it. Is that essentially essentially
Same
the deal?
with artwork nowadays, you know. But yeah, when you lease the beats, you know, especially now because the beats are heard and submitted via YouTube sometimes, you know, or maybe specific websites that actually, you know, sell or lease beats. But for example, YouTube, you might see D'Angelo type beat, you know, if, you know, songwriters or artists are looking for beats that give them the mood of a specific or certain artist that they love, they have the type beat, not even just the same instrumental, just a feeling. Like, you know, when they were in the studio making the beat, that's who they had in mind. You know, so I feel like there's so many different outlets to music, but when it comes to putting it out, you know, I personally just like to conversate with the producer. I like to, yo, this is what we doing, this is my plan. You know, it just alleviates any craziness in the
Do you think there's any marketplace for a Lisa mixer?
A Lisa mixer?
He's talking about himself.
I'm thinking.
Damn.
Yeah, I was actually putting together a business model in my head.
Yeah, man, you can do it per song, you can do it per package deal.
When we do our business, when somebody wants to hire Dave, the first thing we do is a creative call, even before we accept the deal, so that all these things are in line. Deadlines, file transfer, direction, and it's just
You're not
creates
even
this
dealing
open.
with, we can't get the link.
Yeah, and so, but
What's
you
the
also
password?
establish the relationship, like you said you do, so that if there's something, people can settle it one-to-one and just have a conversation. It makes it 90% easier to do. On your producing side, what's your technical process? What DAW do you like to work on? Are you a software guy? Are you in the box?
No, I like to do Logic. I like to.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever I'm making beats, because the thing is I do produce. You know what I mean. But a lot of the songs that I started, someone else might have finished it and you know did the grand schemes. I really feel like what you're best at, you need to do that.
That's what you do.
You really need to do that.
So you put a sketch together.
Yeah,
of your thing.
but sketches for me to inspire myself to write songs. Yeah, all day long. And I like Logic. I like, you know, so many atmosphere. Of course, you know what I mean, that's like ambient sounds. And, you know, I might, you know, be able to come up with a song off 2 sounds.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The minimalist type beats are sometimes the biggest records. You know, so if I can come up with a melody that I like from a sound that inspires me, I'm good. You know, put it on a loop, maybe add the drum that I feel will drive my melody. You know, I have a lot of advantage, you know, whenever I take the old school grassroots, let's go from kick drum and do the 100% song.
Right.
What are a couple of current songwriters that you admire and a couple of old ones that you get inspiration from?
Oh, man. New writers. I love James Fauntleroy. I love how his melody can tell a story before a lyric is added.
No
you
question.
know, old school Smokey Robinson, you know, simplicity and potency at its finest.
Now you're from Compton, right? Is that home?
Yeah.
We're getting ready to test your athletic prowess with batter's box and see
right,
see
cool.
how good you are. Is home an inspiration and continue to be?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Part of who defined you, made you who you are.
Definitely gives me the rap feel, but growing up in church, it gives me the melodic soul.
And again, before it, Dave's floating. Watch, he's going to elevate.
He's hovering.
Well, actually, you're off the ground now.
I'm preparing for my
I see.
battery spot.
You saw. All right, cool. Do you want to do that?
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know what that is.
Okay,
I don't even know what
that's
this is.
I don't either.
Hey, it was like you committed.
I thought you were asking for some change.
I thought you were
didn't know
supposed to
what
do
you-
this and go.
You good?
No, I think not.
By the way, meditation is really the thing.
Yeah.
They can prove that it alters brain cells. It can actually sometimes alter DNA. It's a powerful tool.
Okay, Zen Master, now that you're there, you've done your pseudo Phil Jackson thing and you're ready to
I'm
do
ready.
your stuff.
Wait,
All right.
I got his name. Dave Pensado.
Ooh,
Well,
Dave
That just shows you
Zensado.
how ready I am.
You know what? I like
Let's
that. You actually should go out on tour with him and open up.
Yeah.
Zensado.
Yeah.
That's a certain kind of yoga.
I know.
Baby.
All right, fire away.
Okay. Tempo or BPM?
BPM.
Key.
A E major.
Lyrics.
Strong.
Subjects, like the subject of a song.
There's the word out. Payoff.
Male vocals.
Limitless.
Female vocals.
Captivating.
Reverb.
Not too much.
Mics.
Sony C800.
Bridge or chorus.
Chorus.
Nicki or Cardi.
That was the one we were talking about earlier.
Look at me.
There you go. Loving hip hop Hollywood.
Can't wait to see tonight's episode.
A1 lyric or Safari.
A1. 'Cause I just got off the FaceTime with him.
Did you really? Oh God, small world. He should actually come on the show.
Yes, let's make that.
You all reach out to you.
Yeah, I gotta go home and watch Love and Folk Music.
Oh, it's incredible. Yes. Yeah.
Give me a
Sunday
briefing.
night's
Give me
episode.
a summary.
Yeah,
Love
tell
and
us.
folk. How does it?
Rocky Mountain High, Colorado.
Oh my God. There it goes. It's over. Thank you, folks. It's over. We hit the 200 ITL mark and fell
Yes.
apart right all the way.
I've actually watched some Love and Hip Hop, particularly some of the stuff out of Atlanta, because some of the people in that are my friends. It's entertaining. I don't know if it's real, but it's entertaining.
That's all they need.
Yeah, it's not the
Entertaining
criteria no longer is
nowadays, 'cause,
real.
yeah,
It seems real.
We're committed.
Seems real.
We're
Real enough.
competing with some serious entertainment out here, so you got to come crazy with the music.
Eric, thank you for coming, man.
Thank you.
I think going down that path for, songwriting and songs are at the heart of what, if there isn't that, there isn't anything else.
Yeah.
You can try to be good if you're going to do the music thing and you don't understand that process.
Yeah.
And, we
Format, too.
Well, I was going to say, it's an interesting point you make. We sort of believe on this show that you got to cover all sides of the human. Like there's not just the technical, there's also the inspirational and the aspirational, and
Exactly.
sometimes there's problems and issues and so forth, and that collective discussion is important, which is where you've been really helpful. We all get inspired by people who brought us here.
Yeah.
We have a mutual friend who is a great inspiration for you. Who is it? And
Okay.
speak about her.
Erika Nuri, man, my music angel, who just believed in me. A lot of times people say it isn't what you know, it's who you know. And I, for the longest, didn't know, who I knew.
Yeah.
And she's like, yo, we need to be doing this, and I can be doing this, and I can take you over here, and I can take you over here. And, you know, for the longest, my mom was, you know, really like, because her dad, Bobby Day, was singer-songwriter himself and others as well. And, you know, so my mom seen it all firsthand, so she just kind of wanted to shelter me, I feel like, and make sure I was, you know, on point and equipped. And, you know, but Erika was always there, consistently calling, believing in the talent that I had and that she saw in me at such an early age. So when I was ready, you know, boom, you know, she took me from writing songs on GarageBand, you know, to next week we're in the studio with Rodney Jerkins.
Amazing.
You know, so you gotta have somebody that will believe in you, but it's on you to do something to make them believe.
Take that advice. That is well put.
For sure.
I've known Erika forever, and her father and family. She's an incredible lady, and I've watched her go from being a little person to being a very effective, connected, talented person. And she's never lost the heart of who she is. So good on you, because if she selected you, it says a lot about your talent and who you are as a human being. So since you did the 200 ITL, 7 million views without the help of any of us, why don't you take us home?
I wish that were true. Not even close to being true. I'm sitting here, you know, talking to Eric, and I'm thinking about his concept about yoga and meditation, and it brings a good point that we do live in a society and a time when I think there's a necessity for things like that. Am I doing it? Not yet, really, but sometimes I'll sit in the studio, which is a wonderful place to find a little bit of silence and just try to empty my brain. I guess that kind of counts for meditation a little bit. And when I do that little amount of whatever it is, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I can get back into the real world and attack it. And I think we should play hard, but we need to kind of do like we do our cars. We put the better fuels in our cars than we do into our bodies. So let's take good care of ourselves and each other, look out for each other, and we'll see you next week.